Still don't get it. Any suggestions? Questioner.
I still don't get it.
A basic mistake is trying to think this all out and attain something, as if there is some understanding that the mind will come up with, and suddenly everything will become clear. You are simply proving in your direct experience that the approach you are taking does not work and ends in frustration. This is proof positive that the answer cannot be found in the mind. I see you have been doing your homework and testing the basics out in direct experience.
No matter how much I look, it still looks like awareness arises from this body-mind.
My sense is that you are turning this into an intellectual or philosophical conundrum and tying yourself up into knots. I admire your tenacity, if nothing else. The body, mind, feelings, and thoughts are objects known or experienced by you. Take a general example. You are sitting at ease, and at some point a thought appears in your mind. The next moment it subsides and another comes up. The thoughts appear and disappear. But what in you is aware of the arising and disappearing of thoughts? There must be some presence of knowingness there. Otherwise, how can you speak of being there to know the experience? You actually cannot think about this presence, know it as an object, track it down or run after it. All that is just more thinking. What is being pointed at is in a completely different direction altogether. You cannot seriously assert that you do not exist or that you are not aware, can you? Even if you do, you have to be present and aware to make the assertion that you are not present and aware. This is not meant to be a matter of debate and intellectual analysis, which, in your own experience, you have found to be fruitless. The mind can be no arbiter for that which is beyond its jurisdiction. But do not get the idea that this is tricky or difficult. You are present and aware. You know this. Awareness is present. Wherever the philosophical conundrums may seemingly take you, and however many doubts or riddles arise, they are simply created in thought. They could not be known or spoken about if they did not appear in your actual being awareness. What is happening is that you are giving all your focus to the thoughts, but overlooking the obvious presence awareness in you that even makes thought possible. The ideas of the body, the mind, and the world are just so many thoughts also. Even the question, does awareness arise in the body-mind, or vice versa, is itself just another idea appearing and disappearing in your present awareness. You cannot think your way into awareness. You are awareness. It just gets pointed out. You notice something so basic, simple, and obvious that it went overlooked till now. No matter what you think, say, or do, can you deny that you exist and are aware? Notice this. Everything you think after that is just theory and mental speculation. Maybe it is true, maybe it is not. Whatever the theory may be. You will notice, though, that if you move in that direction, doubt and uncertainty come in. Just see something very basic here. Thinking itself is generating the problem that leads to the doubt and uncertainty. It is coming from nowhere else. This is a very gut-level type of approach. What is certain and doubtless in your immediate experience? Philosophical speculation is a rat hole. If you go down that path, you are seemingly lost. Actually, you are not really lost, but it feels that way. If nothing else, at least do not go down a path that by definition leads to confusion. There is a Zen poem that says something like, "Give rise to a single conceptual thought, and heaven and hell are set infinitely apart." This is another way of saying that the answer is not in thinking or the mind.
I really don't know how to get past this.
This gets to the heart of the issue. What am I? What do I take myself to be? What is the goal I think I am seeking? What is preventing me from seeing that or being that? Your question exposes the core issues. It would be highly productive to give some deep consideration to discover what exactly is this thing we call I.
I know what the right answer is, but it sure looks like thinking, and the awareness of thinking are both just functions of the brain.
Maybe, maybe not. It could go either way from a philosophical standpoint. But what are you now, the one who is aware of this line of thinking? Are you a theory? Is your existence and awareness a matter of debate? At a mental level, you are raising various intellectual questions, which is fine. But at that point, you are jumping on board thought, and ceasing to notice the light in you that is knowing. This is a perfect example of trying to get it in the mind.
To meet, if there is no brain, there is no thinking or wearing.
It seems like you have made up your mind on this, but are you completely sure of this? Are you willing to bet your life on this? Also, we need to be very clear here. You are lumping thinking and awareness together here. At the level at which we are speaking, there is a vast difference between awareness and thought. Awareness is that principle which is aware of thought. Awareness knows thoughts, but thoughts can never know awareness. You need to be very clear on this distinction if you are going to make much headway with this approach.
Very disappointing.
There is an idea here that there is something that you do not have that you need to get. You have used the mind to attempt to ferret out a solution. Because it is not forthcoming, there is a sense of failing and so on. But this is only a confirmation of what is being pointed out. The mind must always be disappointed when you try to use it to know who you are. From another level, though, this is incredibly liberating. To see, at last, that the answer may lie in a completely different direction. The energy is freed up for looking in a new way, a way that can lead to more clarity and certainty. Of course, we are not even getting into the question of who is disappointed. The core issue always gets tackled last for most of us. In any case, the presence awareness is here, as always.
There is something I'm not seeing, because I know I'm no different than you, or Bob Adamson, or Nisargadatta for that matter.
The last part of the sentence is absolutely true. The first part is false, because it is based on a series of unexamined assumptions. You say, there is something I am not seeing. This implies that there is a you, something that you are supposed to see, and some act of seeing that has yet to occur. Of course, once you buy into this framework, you invariably feel that it has not happened yet. Funny how that works. This all spins around the idea that we are some kind of separate entity, apart from the source. So it gets back to what am I? Am I a separate entity, apart? This is just a call to do our homework. Before jumping to conclusions, we need to examine the basic assumptions, at the very least. So what is this I we refer to? Exactly what are we talking about here? It is imperative to take this inquiry to the roots. You can see that everything, all our doubts, questions, and disappointments are hinging on the idea that we have about ourselves. Can you see this?
Why can't I see it?
What are you trying to see exactly? The awareness is here. That should be obvious enough by now. If there is an idea that you need to see something, then see if you can find this I that is the basis of all the problems. You cannot gloss over this.
I do understand that the I is a thought.
In reality, the I is not even a thought. It is actually just an assumption. But assuming that the I is a thought, is that thought what you are? Is the thought I really you? Aren't you here whether or not you are thinking the thought? It is easy to say that the I is a thought and move on quickly. But the real issue is, what do we believe ourselves to be? How do we live and act at a gut level throughout the day? That is the crux of the matter. We can verbally say I am not the ego or whatever, but our daily life and actions are the real test, rather than a fragile mental assertion. So, what is this thing I call I? This is the core issue. Everything hinges on our understanding of this matter.
But this body-mind is real enough.
Fair enough. At its own level, this is so. But where is the problem? The body and mind carry on quite well. The problem comes in when we imagine that what we are is limited to the body and mind alone.
I understand that there is awareness seeing all this, but the awareness sure doesn't seem like it's in this computer or desk. There is awareness of the computer and the desk, but this awareness is occurring in this body, right?
No, the body is an object arising in awareness, just like everything else. Could there be a body if you were not aware? You cannot take my word or anybody else's on this. You need to discover if this is true for yourself. Ultimately, everything arises and sets within awareness, and has no independent existence apart from awareness. It is all one awareness appearing in diverse forms without, however, ever deviating from its own essential nature as awareness. Just like waves can never exist apart from the sea, objects, including the body-mind, can never exist apart from awareness, because they cannot be separated from it. They must, in the final analysis, be one with it. There is only awareness.
If I close my eyes, there is no computer, no desk, so they must be registering in this body-mind. Otherwise, closing the eyes would have no effect, right?
Even a child knows that if you close your eyes, you cannot see an object in front of you. Whether you close your eyes or not, you are still present. Who is watching the seeing or the absence? You close your eyes. But who is registering darkness? You cannot deny your existence or awareness at any time. There is confusion here between perception and awareness. Granting the existence of appearances, perception is limited in time and space, and by the capacities of the sense organs involved. Awareness, though, stands beyond.
If awareness exists beyond this body, why is it that I have no memory prior to the birth of this body?
Speaking relatively, the body-mind is the instrument of perception in the waking state. There is no reason to think that it should have memories of experiences that occurred before it ever appeared. That is like saying that the roll of film within a camera should have images on it of events that occurred before that camera was manufactured. The mind has thoughts and memories, which are limited in time and space. At the level of awareness, there is only awareness and nothing separate from it. There are no instruments available, nor anything for it to know. The mind can push and push down every track, and yet it always winds up empty-handed. It is like being thirsty and using a sieve to scoop up life-giving waters. No matter how diligently you work at it, you never get any refreshment to your parched lips.
I really don't get it, and I don't even think I know how to work with it anymore.
Good news, you have hit the end of the dead-end trail. No need to despair. The end of the false is the beginning of the possibility of the true. Naturally, you are present and aware, always, before the mind throws its net of unexamined assumptions over our immediate experience. Every perception, feeling, and thought is bathed in a spontaneous joy and light. There is no problem, no doubt, no confusion, and no separation until the mind starts to weave its web of concepts. The web spins out because we are not clear on what we are. A simple act of seeing exposes it all, because this presence awareness can never be denied. Thought and all of its problems never touch your true being in the least. In truth, you never leave this. You can never see it, because you are it, and you can never doubt it. In fact, this is the one thing you can never doubt, the fact of your own being. The mind is a useful servant but a poor master. Through all of this looking and seeking, do not forget the simple light and joy in the eyes of a child, the natural beauty in a tree or a flower, or simply how good it feels when you are not thinking of anything in particular. These are all more direct pointers than the mind can ever provide.
Maybe it's just not going to happen in this lifetime. Any suggestions?
Give up the concept that you need to wait for something to happen. Question the very concept of time itself, for where is time when you are not conceiving it? He who waits, waits forever. You do not need to wait to become what you already are. Even now, you are non-conceptual, self-shining, ever-fresh, presence awareness. Just this and nothing else. I believe this version maintains the original meaning while improving readability by removing unnecessary line breaks.